This year has been very difficult as an income investor, particularly through Q2 and Q3, as many companies cut, suspended, cancelled dividends. But as we enter 2021, what we're seeing is we're starting to see management teams of companies starting to reinitiate dividends, and in fact, some have been growing dividends, particularly in Q4 and possibly in Q1 next year. So, whilst this has been a very difficult year for income investors, 2021 is looking much brighter, particularly now we're rolling out the vaccine across the world.
Which particular companies are you focused on at the moment for perhaps a reintroduction of dividend payout or an increase in payments?
In some ways, it's been quite a different type of year. And in Q3, we made a number of new investments in the fund across companies which have actually cut their dividend. Normally, under all circumstances, you stay away from companies that have cut dividends because it normally reflects a deteriorating business and maybe in many instances a lack of competition in individual markets. But this year has been one which has been just so different to every other year, and that is that it's provided us with an opportunity to invest in new companies like Disney, like Safran, like Amadeus, who cut their dividends as the pandemic really dropped demand across all their business silos. But we anticipate, as we go into 2021, that these companies will not only reinitiate their dividends at past levels, but will be able to grow their dividends quite significantly over the next 5 years because they've focused their business so well around digital transformation and have actually positioned themselves to take share as we exit this crisis. One of the areas we think that we should stay away from as investors and income mandates is really around companies that entered this crisis in weak positions. And we know many of those companies across the UK that are just over leveraged and are no longer competitive across their key markets. And so therefore, we're just not sure when they're going to firstly reinitiate dividends, but also at what level.
Can I ask you about whether there's a risk to dividends and payouts based on ESG? There's a momentum around reimagining capitalism. We were talking about earlier in the show that companies should think about the benefits that they bring to society, not just paying out shareholders, which means a push against the way we've traditionally viewed the returns from some of these big income payers. Is that a threat? Is that something you're mindful of?
It's definitely something that we have to be mindful of. And what we have seen in the last 3 to 4 years is companies paying out unsustainable dividends. And at the moment, what we've had a chance for companies to reset those expectations. And what we will be sort of challenging CEOs on is whether or not those new policies, dividend policies, are sustainable, one, and two, whether or not they are considering very strongly those ESG mandates, which are very, very important, particularly for oil and gas type companies.